Today on Generic Dating Show, we have a very special bachelor who came back in time just to find himself a lady. Let's invite Alexander Pushkin! Yay! Hi, I'm Alexander Pushkin, and I'm a Gemini. I was born on June 6, 1799, and I am a romantic poet. Now we'll bring in Alex for her definition of the romantic movement. I'm Alex with the National Poets Society, giving you my definition of the romantic period. The romantic movement was a group of people who were investigating the natural side of things. In a time where everything was about industry, they looked to nature, emotion, and what it means to be alive. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening. Now let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Russia's most famous poet. I was born into one of Russia's most famous noble families. As a young man, I was immersed in French poetry and Russian neoclassicism. After graduating in 1817, I threw myself into the St. Petersburg Society, pursuing pleasure as well as politics. Certain poems from these years were directed towards a lot of high-ranking officials, which was strange because I was born into such a noble family in Russia. I was sent into exile in southern Russia for my outspoken political views. At the end of 1823, I began my work on my masterpiece, Eugene Onegin. Written over 7 years, the poem was published in its full in 1833. In it, I invented a new stanza, alternating between feminine and masculine rhymes. In general, my life was marked by politic and romantic scandal. Though Nicholas I eventually released me from exile, my work was frequently censored, my letters intercepted, and my status with the court remained tenuous until my death. One of my most famous poems are decidedly romantic in their celebration of freedom and defense of personal liberty. But my concise, moderate, and spare style has proven difficult for many critics to categorize my work. My narrative, poems, epics, and lyrics are mainstays of the Russian literary tradition and are widely memorized. My works have inspired countless song cycles, ballets, and other artistic impersonations. In 1880, a statue of myself was unveiled in Moscow, and 2 speeches were given, who claimed that the statue allowed Russians to claim themselves as a great nation, because this nation had given birth to such a man. At this time, I would like to read you one of my poems. It is called Echo by Alexander Pushkin. If the beast within a silent forest moans, if a trumpet sounds, if thunder rolls and cracks, or a young girl sings most inaudibly, for each initial tone, the atmosphere resounds quite suddenly. With a response your own, you listen to the peal of distant thunder, a rumbling voice of violent waves and storm, and you hear the village shepherd's lonely cry, and then you send your answer, but hear no echo, there is no reply. This also, poet, is your nature. Now let's bring Alex in for a modern rendition of this poem. Hello, I'm Alex, and I'm here to read my rendition of Alexander Pushkin's poem, Echo. The unknown forest makes noise. If instruments play, if storms thunder and lightning, or if a young person sings quietly, for each sound, the space around us is greatly affected. In its response, you listen to the storm. It sounds very violent and loud. A lonely man cries out. There is no one to hear him. This is also the nature of a poet. Thank you. This has been a reading provided by the National Poets Society. Thank you again, and have a wonderful evening. Wow, we've got to know a lot about today's bachelor, Alexander Pushkin. But his poem may be hard for someone of my generation to understand. So I'm going to put it in terms for the kids. Music. There have been many songs today with lyrics that convey the same message as Alexander Pushkin's poem. One song would be Billy Idol's Dancing with Myself. This song talks about how lonely he is and by himself, which is reflected in Alexander's poem Through the Lonely Shepherd. Whether you're alone dancing to Billy Idol in your room, or a famous poet who just likes to write about how lonely he is. I'm so lonely. We all have experienced something in Alexander Pushkin's poem. That's why he has become so famous and why he is greatly studied not only in Russia's culture, but in ours as well. I hope you liked today's Bachelor, and we'll see you next week on Generic Dating Show. Thank you, and have a nice evening.
When there's no one else inside, in the crowded lonely night. Well, I wait so long for my love vibration, and I'm dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. When there's nothing to lose and there's nothing to prove, but I'm dancing with myself. If I looked all over the world, and there's every type of girl, but you're empty, I see to pass me by, leave me dancing on with myself. So let's sink another drink, 'cause it'll get me